apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why. My alibi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Alibi the podcast, an initiative started by Gagasan Mahasiswa Undang-Undang Sabah, GUS for short. My name is Clarissa, and today's podcast we will be talking about something every law student experiences: stress. Law school is tough, the deadlines are tight, the reading never ends, and let's be honest, it sometimes feels like we are all just one case summary away from a meltdown. But here's the verdict: managing stress is a skill, and just like any other case law, it can be learned. On today's episode of the Alibi, the podcast, we are excited to dive deep with our special guest, Ephraim, our president, and Mathilda, to share with us a few tips on how they manage their stress as a law students. Thank you for joining us, Ephraim and Mathilda. So to kick things off, why don't you both introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, about where you are in your law school journey?
Hello everyone. My name is Ephraim, and I am currently serving as the president of Gagasan Mahasiswa Undang-Undang Sabah. I'm from University Utara Malaysia, and I'm in my second year, going to my third year. And thanks for having me here today.
Thank you, Ephraim. Now let's move on to Mathilda.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Mathilda Ignathia. I am currently in my final year in University Technology Mara. Actually, I just completed my final year few days ago. Yeah. And I am the Director of Publicity and Marketing for Guns.
Okay, thank you so much for the amazing introduction from both of you. So let's start with the basics. As a law student, what is your biggest stressor in law school?
Mm, for me, I believe that one of the biggest factor in contributing to stress for me as a law student would definitely be the information overload
Hmm.
under a specific time pressure, if you know what I mean. You know how in like law school, it demands us law students to read a lot and to understand a lot of complex material such as cases, statutes, and basically everything within like a tight deadline. So like towards like our semester, as the semester progresses, it basically demands like a higher order thinking skill as well as a higher order of way to sort of get everything into get everything from that 14 weeks into our finals. And then you have this pressure to basically keep up and retain everything and apply it very precisely in our final examination, or basically in any scenario, which practically leaves many students constantly overwhelmed and basically anxious about falling behind no matter how hard they work. So that's my biggest stressor in school lah. Basically, um, we do a lot of things under time pressure macam tu.
True, I can only imagine. Law school is known for, yeah, being intense. So how about you, Matilda?
Well, for me personally, the biggest stressor in law school would be chasing the overlapping deadlines. You know, sometimes we get like a whole list of assignments to do, and at the same times we have presentations to prepare for, tutorial classes, mock trials, and not to mention the never-ending cases to read and whatnot. So sometimes it does get a little bit overwhelming, and it's actually really draining because it makes you wonder, are you here in law school to learn or are you here to chase deadlines? Yeah, so I think that's for me
Betul.
my biggest stress in law school.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I've definitely had nights where I wasn't even stressed about the deadlines. I was stressed about being stressed, you know. So that's why we need strategies, not just caffeine and just crashing out and crying, you know. Now, based on our recent infographics, there are several ways to overcome stress. So first and foremost, eat the frog, which means to start with the hardest task first, and then once the work begins, the resistance fades and momentum builds, leading to greater productivity. And then second brain, task switching, um, s- um, staying physically active. So that one we will dive deeper into after this. Now, to Ephraim, what does your eat your frog look like in your routine?
Thank you very much for that question. For me, how I apply eat your frog into my routine is basically like the definition itself lah. Um, I would usually like in early in the morning or like for example, I have tasks to do. I would usually do the hardest one first because the hardest one like how do I say this? Usually the task that I would do is the one that is paling boring to
Mhm.
which macam um for instance lah, this thing it requires a lot of reading, understanding, and then it requires basically a lot of attention lah. And sometimes it gets a little bit boring because you are forced to do it, and if you don't do it like right now, you won't get to do it later. So then what I would do is I would take that thing that I have to do first, the most driest thing or the most boring thing that I will do it in first thing in the morning because that's the state of mind that I am currently like how to say I'm still in that I'm focused lah because that's the first
Mm,
task you want to do kan. So macam when you are like very when you are in that mode awal pagi macam tu, it really helps you to push through that very, very annoying assignment, for example. And then after you finish doing that dry or that very boring assignment, all the work after that will become much easier and you get the momentum and you get more motivated to do it. So that's how I would usually apply the eat your frog concept lah in my routine.
All right. So, what's your secret weapon for offloading the mental clutter? Do you go to what is your go-to second brain app, Ephraim?
Mm, I wanted to ask actually, brain app here means application bahkan.
Yes. Basically for such as tools like Notion or maybe Google Calendar or
Ah,
maybe you journal or something
I
like that.
see. So usually, you know, like between everything else, between a lot of assignment and midterm, I think I would most of the time I would just use my notes app on my phone and I just type down like the deadlines one by one, and then I will susun it like tengok yang which one yang paling first that we have to hantar, we have to submit, and then yeah, if not that before this all, I would usually use Notion. Like if I'm really locked in that semester or I'm very early, I would use Notion and then I would like prepare my whole schedule on the app itself. Tapi towards the end, I would go back to my notes app also
Mhm.
lah because it's easier macam tu.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Notion as well. So, um, now some students, I heard that they say they feel like they don't have time to rest. So, as a final year law student, Matilda, what would you say to the students who think that resting is just a waste of time and they don't have time to rest lah, basically.
Um, after going through like 4 years of law school, I would say you need to make time. To me, you will always have time for things that you prioritize. So you have to prioritize yourself. It's impossible to not have time at all, you know? So you have
Yeah.
to prioritize yourself, prioritize your physical and mental health. I used to be that person who would say, I don't have time to rest. But law school, it actually taught me that life doesn't have to be all about studying. You know, you must have a little bit of fun in life, enjoy your student life. And you know, if you need rest, you know. Uh you can take power naps in between your study sessions if you need to. Most importantly, don't skip meals. Make sure you stay hydrated. Don't only rely on caffeine. You know, this is what law students do most of the time. Well, I am guilty of that too. But you know, I try to like not skip meals and make sure I drink as much water as possible. Take power naps in between. You know, make sure uh you are healthy. You know, you need to take care of your body to be productive. So I would say you need to make time. That's the
Yeah.
only thing you can do.
Yeah, I completely agree with your point, Matilda. So now, any quick tips for students on how they can break out of their isolation bubble when law school gets lonely? So, what do you think, Ephraim?
Okay, for me, first of all, yeah, there's like two sides of this. For example, like the first side of it, I have to like we have to understand ada like some people they prefer to do things alone because they find it way better doing things alone rather than doing with other people. But there's like a cons of it lah also. For example, like when you do things alone, but then when you really need help for someone, macam terlambat sudah. So for that kind of like people yang that are currently facing this, it's like I completely understand when like law school gets lonely. And like for myself, I'm grateful that I entered my uni with my friends lah. But of course, like there are more than one time than often. Like there are times where it does feel a little bit lonely because like nobody gets you as a person juga. But trust me lah, like not everyone is facing the same thing juga. And I would definitely like recommend to just basically reach out to people. Being in law school, right? Most of us are I find most of us are very reachable. All of us are kind of helpful when we have something you want to ask or some to. It's not really about competition. When you really like genuinely try to reach out to people, there will be people who will like help you out and help you understand like certain things that you don't understand. And then basically what I did when I felt like that is that I joined a lot of events. From joining a lot of events and programs, you meet different kind of people. So when you meet that kind of people, you get to have like a perspective lah, and you get that fresh opinion whenever you need it. And then you don't only get to like know yourself, but you also get to understand how like the school works from the people that you talk to. So I respect that some might find being alone is peaceful, and that's okay too. But if it does like impact you in a negative way, it's never too late to reach out lah. Macam tu. Yeah. That that's what I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, true. So, how about you, Matilda? Do you have any parting advice on how law students can break out of their isolation bubble when law school gets lonely?
Okay, for me, actually, I agreed with what Ephraim said. Um, and for me, I am very grateful because throughout my years in law school, I've met so many amazing people. I had so many great friends along the way. But I do understand that sometimes law school can get a bit lonely at some point. So one of the ways that I can suggest to my fellow law students, to break out of that isolation bubble is to get involved in any student organizations or any, curricular activities out of law school. Like for me, I was part of several clubs in law school, and guns is one of the ways I get to interact with friends from other law schools. We share different experiences, and uh, in guns we get to relate with each other because we're all on the same boat. uh yeah, so actually another suggestion is to go out and do some recreational activities. You cannot just sit there and study 24/7, right? Go out for a walk, in the park with your friends, or maybe have like a badminton game with your friends during the weekend. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm part of the faculty sports club, and I can guarantee you that was one of the best decisions I've made. I made a lot of new friends, and I got to have fun at the same time, in law school. So some people might say they don't have time to do all this in law school, but for me, it's all about time management. You need to have a life outside of law school. So if I can do it, then anyone can.
Yes, I do agree with you, Mathilda. Law school is hard, but stress management doesn't have to. So, to our listeners, you don't need to do everything at once. Pick one strategy and try it this week. Remember, resting is grinding too. Take a walk, as Matilda have already said just now. Then take breaks, get enough sleep, and don't feel guilty about it. So, as we wrap up, what would your message to law students who feel stressed out about their studies? And what is your best tip for surviving law school stress, Matilda?
All right. So, as someone who has just completed the final year, so here is my advice to all of you listening to this podcast. Um, your LLB journey will not be easy. Uh, but along the way, you will face a lot of challenges, stress, mental breakdowns, and more. It doesn't get easier, but you will learn how to adapt as time goes by. So if you feel like giving up, always look back at how far you have come. Remember the people who are rooting for you. If you're feeling too stressed, take a break. Spend time with your friends, your family, talk to them, and then look for friends who will lift you up and walk you through the tough times in law school. Don't jeopardize your mental and physical health, and take every challenge one at a time. Always believe in yourself. So, and most importantly, don't be afraid to fail because failure is what makes you stronger. So, yeah, I think that is my advice to those law students. Keep
Yeah.
going.
So if yeah, yes, keep going. So Ephraim, any parting advice from you on how to survive law school stress as now you have been going through law school for 2 years, 3 years?
Okay, I very much agree with Matilda's point lah on the last part. Failure doesn't determine your future, okay? Like for me, I learned it the hard way. Like fun fact lah, like baru-baru je found out like I'm not gonna survive this subject, but my result belum keluar. But then for me, failure is a part of growth, and then it teaches you a lesson, and then don't take it negatively. Okay lah, like you can cry about it 2 or 3 days macam tu, but then like after that like you have to pick yourself up and then learn from that mistake, if you know what I mean. Because like for example, you have to know lah, you cannot really blame like everyone or the world. That's why you fail. Macam tu. You have to understand why it happened and why it needed to happen so that you can become a better student when you understand that specific subject, aka third. I'm just kidding. Tapi aka Tort. Okay, Tort almost killed me, by the way. But anyways, continuing on, for me, yeah, Matilda really put like a great emphasis on the last part, and from my end, I think like law school, it gets really tiring. And then when you get tired, you constantly push yourself. When you push yourself, it's not considered as being productive already because you're not doing it like with heart ba. So then like when you push yourself, you get burned out. And then when you already burn out, you try to pick yourself out from being burned out by like let's say consuming like caffeine or doing something to wake you up to study. It wouldn't be as effective and convenient for both your quality of education macam tu and your health. So for me, you have to give yourself like you have to give yourself grace lah. You have to be kind to yourself. And you don't have to like win every day. I know like all law student macam we all want to win macam tu. We all want to get certain goals. We all want to do this. We all want to get that. We want to win this. But at the end of the day, like you're just a human being also. So like give time to yourself and take small break and don't feel guilty about taking that break because like once you take a break, usually your mind will be fresh already once you have the right motivation to continue doing something. So that is my take on how to survive law school. Like even though I'm still in my second year, I'm going to my third year already. So that is what I learned so far in how I would manage stress and how to basically survive law school for now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Ephraim. So remember, listeners, managing stress doesn't mean doing everything at once, but try one strategy and then see how it goes later. Then rest is a part of the grind as well. No guilt required. So thank you for both of you, Ephraim and Mathilda, for sharing these valuable insights. Um, it has truly been an enriching and fruitful exchange of opinions that I believe we all can take something from. So, with that, we reach the end of our podcast episode today. Thank you for listening to the Alibi the podcast. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you want to find more podcasts like this, subscribe to our channels on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor to stay updated on our latest release. So we hope you can join us for our next episode as well. So thank you to Mathilda and Ephraim, and also Nicole for helping me, and all our listeners.
Sorry now that I'm a little late. I apologize that you had to wait. It totally slipped my mind. I lost all my sense of time. So buy me that drink and just let me think, and I'll tell you the reasons why.